You are not addicted to your phone. You're just too tired to be anything else. It's 9 o'clock, the first bit of free time you've had all day long, and you spend it scrolling. Yes, you do that yesterday, you do that again. And tomorrow morning, you're going to call that a discipline problem because that's what you've been told it is. If you're the kind of person who has a book that has been sitting beside your bedside for months now and you've still been on chapter 1, each time you notice, oh, I'm going to do that difficult thing that I said I'm going to do, you just find yourself reaching for your phone or like using AI to make it faster because it feels too uncomfortable just to sit with being bad at something, then this video is for you. You've tried the sun lamp, you've tried the dopamine detox, you have an aura ring, and you have all of these paraphernalia to find something to ease this sense that you're not doing enough for your wellness. But if you still feel that sense of brain fog all the time, then I doubt these things are actually helping you. Because your system, your nervous system, was never actually meant to deal with this pace of life. If you've been struggling to focus lately, it's not just your attention, it's your nervous system. So instead of looking at focus as an input that you apply to get something done, I want you to start to think of it as an output, almost like a natural consequence that happens when something underneath it is in place and is solid. By the end of this video, I'm going to give you just 2 moves that can train that layer underneath from a yogic lens. It's going to give your senses a single place to rest, and that rest itself is going to feel so good. And then when you can hold that point while something more demanding is happening in the background, that's when you know that this brain rot, this feeling of overwhelm will go away. So brain rot was the word of the year, and it's not like the phone is just doing something to your brain. I don't think that's quite right. I think it's also the reason why we're all stuck, because we blame social media, and that doesn't actually carry the nuance of what's happening. If you tried reading a page in a room where somebody says your name or interrupts you like literally every 4 seconds, you'll read the same line over and over and over again 11 times, but you won't conclude that you've lost your intelligence, right? You won't say, oh, I forgot how to read. You'd say that room was impossible. It was impossible to concentrate because I kept being interrupted. You've been living in that room for so long now, but you've been blaming your concentration, you've been blaming social media, when instead it's actually the room. And burnout doesn't make you a lazy person. In fact, all it does is it drains the mental energy that you actually need to pay attention, to do the things you need to do. So when you're burnt out, it's not like you don't have the inclination to do something. It's just that your fuel tank is empty. And everything you want to do obviously costs something. Making an effort to go see your friend asks you to stay present with someone who is unpredictable. Reading a book asks you to hold your attention on one line after the next without any sense of immediate reward. Doing Ashtanga yoga asks you to tolerate being really bad at it initially until it becomes a routine. And when that tank is empty, when you feel burnt out and you've been burnt out for a while, there's exactly just one activity left that costs you nothing and kind of makes you feel good, and that is scrolling. And this is what brain rot is. It's not a damage. Think of it as low power mode on your phone. Your phone at 2% shuts down everything expensive and runs the cheapest process it has. Your computer does the same. Curiosity is expensive. Patience is expensive. So those are things that go first. And this is why nothing feels interesting anymore. And this is why you haven't stepped on the mat in ages. The mat actually requires you to have a courage to rebuild those energy reserves without something just like a short-term fix. And Patanjali defines dharana so well in his 3rd chapter of the Yoga Sutras, you don't even need to look elsewhere. He says, Desha bandhas chittasya dharana. We're going to break that down. Desha is a location, a physical location or a location in the mind because you can visualize things. Bandha just means binding or confinement. Chittasya is of the mental, emotional energy. Remember, Patanjali doesn't just think of us as a thinking thing up here and a moving thing down here. He considers a chitta as one field of the mind and body, and dharana is the linking of the attention. And so binding the attention to one place is concentration. That's the entire definition. That's it. But if you notice, it's not like effort. It's not straining your eyebrows to concentrate on your third eye until you squint like a weirdo. It isn't a stronger will. It's binding to a single place. And this is so simple, right? It almost seems so simple to like not follow that we need all of these other things to make it real. Now, see where this sits. It's laid out in a sequence. It's not like a menu. The fifth limb just before it is Pratyahara, which is the withdrawal of senses. And then the sixth limb is dharana, which is concentration, the verse you just heard. So there's the fifth limb, and then comes dharana, or the sixth limb, on purpose. And so concentration was never meant to be step one. It wasn't ever meant to be this thing that you just have naturally. It's what becomes available to your senses after they let go of constantly trying to make sense of the room. But pratyahara is not putting your phone in a drawer. That's just removing the stimulus. You have to be able to change the room, change the environment. Pratyahara is also a change, a deep change in the way you're viewing the room. It lives in the body, not on some bookshelf, not in some video, not even in this. And so the difference between just a digital detox and an actual practice is that an actual practice can come with you into a loud room. Even in a cafe, you can choose to concentrate. So how do we train the fifth limb? The first, I'm going to tell you just a simple move that you can do. And I want you to actually notice the order, because doing this in the order actually is what makes it powerful. So move number one is give your senses a single place to rest. Now, not like into the void, not just closing your eyes, a single desha. In Ashtanga, we have a drishti for every single posture. There are 9 of these. There's like tip of the nose, between the eyebrows, the navel. There's so many of them that we progressively move through. And here's what's actually happening. When your eyes settle on that point and genuinely just stay, it's almost like your senses are withdrawing and that binding begins to happen. Pratyahara is tipping into dharana, and the sutra is actually happening live in your body as you move through the sequence. And it takes only about 90 seconds for you to really truly rest your attention and find that it stays. The second move, and this is the one that actually transfers and lands, I want you to hold that point while something demanding is happening. I don't want you to just think of this as a skill that you need to develop in a silent room. When your breath is loud, when your legs are shaking, when every single part of you wants to look at the clock and see when this torture will finish, that's when you need to practice this. Because a binding that only holds when the room is empty, when the conditions are perfect, isn't actually like, strong. It can literally be blown away by any small temptation. The sutra says, bind the attention to the place, and it's only staying there with that place amidst a difficulty, amidst increasingly difficult postures, does it begin to become a muscle that you can translate into the rest of your life. And I want you to see why that transfers, because obviously that's the entire point, right? Your evening is not a silent room. It's a loud one. You've got notifications, you've got tiredness, you've got 6 unfinished things, you've got your kids running in the background. A capacity trained only in the quiet when you go on a retreat is like not useful, right? It actually has to transfer into your daily life. And that's why 10 minutes of doing this, of training the senses, does more for you than like an hour of just following somebody else's class on YouTube. Meditation is actually doing all of this, but in absolute silence, when actually in real life, you're just trying to survive a world full of noise and you're trying to withdraw the senses, practice this fifth limb in real time. And the honest reason why nobody sells you this is because focus gummies are a much better product to sell than train your gaze and work with it every day. Supplements with mostly sugar are instant, you can buy it in one click. But when you have to convince yourself that it's actually working, you are the one that has to suffer the consequences instead of the influencer who suggested it to you. But if you can just train your breath and your gaze for a fortnight, even if you don't notice anything initially, you have it. You have it, and you stop needing, anything else. You can do it whenever you feel like you're out of focus. And that's the thing you get to keep. So that's it. That's the trade. Stop trying to concentrate and focus your mind. Just work on the layer underneath. It will only take you about 10 minutes a day, and you'll naturally notice a difference on how you interact with the world. Just remember, you're not broken, you're never lazy, nothing is happening to you. You've just been running on low power mode, and you've been calling that a character flaw. And if you want to get back onto the mat in a way that feels easy and not intimidating, I've built a 3-day free challenge. It's called Get on the Mat. There's a link in the description below. Go ahead and click that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.